What is the point of life? Why are we here? Why does life perpetuate itself to such an extent? What is the end goal of our lives continuing? Now, my argument here is not to propose evidence to you that proves that God exists, that there is some supernatural nature to the universe or the multiverse, or that my opinion is the only one that is valid. My argument here is to work off of what I believe. And if you care what I believe, if you seek to think differently about the nature of existence, then continue listening to me. If you do not, then go to another video. But my understanding of why we are here is that life constantly perpetuates itself. From the second that life found itself on this planet, most likely from a comet, it has sought to survive to greater and greater degrees. And as evolution progressed, it eventually made us a fully sentient species, or something we like to consider sentience, and we don't like to consider ourselves as conditioned as we most likely are. But regardless of that, as life grew and evolved, it produced us, a species that can think for itself, can conceptualize the universe, and can conceptualize our purpose in it. Now, I do believe that there is a God, but I believe that there are many gods that make up the functions of this one God, and that ultimately everything is a part of this one superconsciousness, this one Godhead, if you will. But that makes life on this planet, for me, in my belief, a perpetuating cycle, because life needs to be given a chance to really experience itself. It needs to be given a chance to justify itself and decide why it exists. We don't exist just to exist. We exist to look at how and why and how long we've existed. We need to ask questions, and we exist to ask questions: where we started, where we're going, and if we can achieve unification in the way that nations have been trying to achieve since recorded history. Every single religion is an effort at unification, is an effort at making their idea of the universe and who created it, what created it, God, the supreme idea, so that we can all fall into line. But there is a grander purpose that religion often misses: spirituality. We need not force people into connecting with one another. We just need to look at who we are as human beings. We just need to look at ourselves as individuals and see that longing within, in order for people to be willing to join hands and work together, learn together, grow together, and have our own explanations. And those who do not believe in anything supernatural, who do not look deep within and find those roots, that's fine. They don't have to be a part of a spiritual society. A religious society demands, a spiritual society persuades, and if the persuasion does not succeed, there is no force taken, if it truly is a spiritual society. Now, in the Western world, our bellies are often full, but our spirits are empty. Our spirits are empty because we've explored, especially in the recent centuries, how we can make a nation, how we can make a nation function, and how we can continue as individuals in relation to a state. We've seen nations rise and fall trying to impose their doctrine onto others, whether it be fascism in the form of Nazism in Germany, before World War II, and of course some people still carry those ideas, the Soviet Union and its collapse. And right now we're experimenting with capitalism in the United States in an extreme way that does not exist absolutely as it does here in any other country. And the countries that it does exist do not call themselves capitalists. You can say China. You can call them an extreme version of capitalism that will not admit it. But at any rate, we as the United States of America, we like to look at ourselves as being the shining beacon of what it is to be a country of free people. But we still have the Electoral College. Very few presidents, I think only one, was elected by popular vote. And we still think that our vote truly matters. Now, the electorate, it usually votes with how its constituents want it to vote, how their constituents want them to vote. But there is no guarantee. There is no guarantee of democracy and freedom even in the American system right now. Now, when we look at other countries vote on laws, Switzerland, and even stateside. California votes on laws, and there are a couple other states in the United States that actually are giving their citizens an opportunity to vote on individual laws, which is amazing. And this is what we need to look towards, because spirituality cannot continue to grow in people's hearts, no matter what they believe, but still desiring that connection that is spiritual, if we exist in a state that does not allow for true democracy. Because spirituality is democracy of the soul. Who has a monopoly on the point of life? Who has a monopoly on the reason that we exist? No one. But I'll tell you who really needs to have a monopoly, and that is the individual. The individual must realize that no matter how small you feel you are, no matter how insignificant you feel you are in society, you deserve a fair shake, and you really have one within. Because you don't need all the things that are offered by a better wage, by a better level of luxury, and by a greater level of power. You already have everything you need within. If your belly is relatively full, if you're not starving, then you have a chance to delve within. You can meditate. You can delve into magic with only $5 a week budget. You can find those threads within that are far deeper than what you look like on the outside, than the form of your body, than the materialism that is handed to you by the society we live in. Your essence is beyond that material. The gods can be cherished. The gods are those divine beings from whence we come. And the gods of the gods are the threads of reality. Now, our essence is to become as the gods are. Our nature is to become as the gods are. For us as sentient beings, we have the ability to work towards the higher states of existence, to understand them, and to work beyond the base experiences of being human that are fear and desire. And we can go beyond pain. Our true essence is to go beyond pain, because what being, even a worm which is pricked with a pin, will not jerk, will not try to seek a way from that pain. There is no being that desires pain, and only those who are most deluded think that it will bring them to their divinity. So why do we value that which causes us suffering? Why do we find in this society that money is what we value most? The material is what we value most. That how we look on the outside is the most desirable. People who are considered the most desirable externally, I guarantee you they have not had to work for being an individual person of divine essence and also of intelligence as much as they who are not physically beautiful. So the essence of humanity need be pursued within, because without is an illusion. And in this world of illusion, those who seem to be leaders, those who seem to have the qualifications and external appearance and presentation of a leader, need not be leaders. Some of them are monsters. And some of those who look like monsters, some of those people who are hideous without, and they can't talk right, they stutter, or they feel nervous in public. A lot of those people are some of the best human beings on this earth. It all comes down to looking past appearances. This world of illusion is predominant in our minds because society perpetuates it. It allows it to become a hallmark of what it is to be human, but we cannot allow materialism to become the hallmark of what it is to be human. We must disassociate from this idea. Punishment is as much a teacher as reward. But there is something beyond that, and that is the ultimate form from which we come. Punishment and reward are here to show us that our actions should not be selfish. And if our actions are, punishment or reward will show us the way. Karma, and the fabric of reality being dharma, the moral code, It's something we must uncover for ourselves as individuals. If we do not uncover the moral code of reality, then it will uncover us. It will make itself plain to us through karma, through reward and punishment. Because that is not the DNA of individuals, but the DNA of reality itself, the fabric of the multiverse. That is what we must appeal to within. And we have those strands. We can take those strands within that connect to dharma and karma and yank in just the right way, pull out the materialism within and the selfishness, and guide in those strands of karma and dharma that are most beneficent, that are most beneficial. Because the teachers that are just do not simply give, but they take away when we deserve to be taken from. What we must realize about Dharma is that all these nations on earth, they seem diverse, but they are all of one essence. They are all of earth. Dharma is so vast that it can encompass the entire multiverse, which is many different dimensions with millions upon millions of different sentient species like us in those dimensions. And Dharma has a thread to every single one. Dharma expects attacks from every single individual who is self-aware, and even those life forms that are not, but to a lesser degree. Every single life form that is self-aware, Dharma has a thread to. And it tugs and demands from us that we act in a way that is not selfish, that is not purely focused on what we can gain from the universe, but also what we can give back. And achieving this symbiosis, achieving this balance, is what it is to be aligned with Dharma and to work with karma and not against it, because you cannot work against karma. You cannot work against cause and effect. And those who are selfish will always reap the fruits of being selfish. And those who look out for themselves but also look out for others and find that balance, that is when we have a symbiotic relationship with the universe and the multiverse. But should we sacrifice more and think of ourselves less, we get back a whole lot more, but we shouldn't focus on that. And should we try to take more from others than we give back, then much is taken from us. And we must realize the reason for that. So look within and find those dharmic strands within yourself. Find your conscience, because that is Dharma tugging at the back of your mind. That is Dharma asking you to go a different direction than you are. And if your conscience is clear, then you are most beloved by Dharma.